the American dream. To his last breath, he'll always be a soldier.
Heard on great radio stations all across America. It's the National Defense with Randy Miller and Jerry Newberry.
The National Defense is made possible by Ford. Go further. By the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. By VSP. For more information on how VSP can help you in your corrective vision needs, visit VSP.com. By the Wounded Warrior Project. Serving those who sacrificed for over 15 years. Online at woundedwarriorproject.org. By Gillette On Demand. Get Gillette quality blades delivered directly to your door with Gillette On Demand. Learn more at GilletteOnDemand.com. By Morgan Stanley. Discover how they can help you achieve your long-term financial goals at morganstanley.com. By Farmers Insurance. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Find an agent at farmers.com. By Gorilla Glue, makers of Gorilla Tape for the toughest jobs on planet Earth. And by Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant. It goes on clear and keeps you fresh all day, and it doesn't leave white marks on your shirt.
Hey, welcome into the National Defense. It's Randy Miller and Jerry Newberry. And Jerry, as always, our dedication.
Hey, this show's for you, the men and women serving in our military. It's for the millions of veterans out there, and it's for all your families. We're here for you. We love you. God bless you.
And, we love talking about PVA, Paralyzed Veterans of America. And we've had a lot of folks on here from PVA. And now we have the executive director, Carl Blake, is with us. Carl, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Thank you so much for being on here. We actually just finished an interview with a guy that I'm sure you've met and know, Gary Sinise.
Yes, sir. In fact, I saw him. He was on the TV quite a bit over the weekend, I think, promoting a new book that he's come out with.
Yep. He's got a new book called Grateful American.
If you get a chance, read it. It's a great book.
Yeah, really good.
Well, I will say, and I don't say this lightly, he's a great American.
Yes, he is.
He is a great American. And
a grateful American.
Boy, you talk about a guy that, goes above and beyond and really has a heart for veterans. It's that guy. So,
well, it's interesting because in the interview I saw with him over the weekend, he mentioned that people just, especially in the veterans community, people associate him with Lieutenant Dan and Forrest Gump.
Right.
Not understanding that how much of his life outside of his movie career is devoted towards support for veterans and their families, and the issues that we care about. So yeah, he's a heck of a spokesman for the veterans community, and I think people are actually just starting to learn more and more about it.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's rare in today's world. So the PVA is an organization that's been around that is a staunch, strong advocate for veterans. They're willing to challenge the status quo. They're willing to take on Congress.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever administration is in power at the time. Recently, I shouldn't say recently, it's been for several years now, but most recently, and it's somewhat of a contentious issue, I think, among a lot of people, but especially in the veteran community, is the transition that VA is seemingly going to make to incorporate more private care. And I think the main concern there is that going to eventually lead to the dissolution of the VA healthcare system? Am I on point there?
Yeah, I think you probably have framed at least the context of the argument pretty well. I would tell you, I don't think we ascribe to the belief that the VA is just going to be shut down. It's just not a viable consideration when you consider how deeply embedded into local communities the VA is, its network across the entire United States, how many veterans it serves. I think the political debate is distilled down to, are we privatizing the VA or are we not? It's far more complex than that.
Right. Carl, of course, you and I, we're looking at it from a veteran point of view. And certainly you're looking at it as the executive director of an organization. But I just wonder, because you understand the situation, but I think across America as a whole, they don't quite understand. So I think I don't think it's safe to say that the VA healthcare system isn't in any danger, simply because of the fact there's such a depth of lack of knowledge about how VA works.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the VA has been the victim of all the bad press that could possibly be brought out to paint it in a negative light. And I think what most people don't understand is there are millions of veterans that rely on the VA every day. The VA has over 8 million veterans enrolled. It serves around about 6 million veterans on an annual basis, particularly for health care. Plus, you have about 2.5 to 3 million who are served by the benefit side of VA. Unfortunately, the VA gets painted into the sort of the negative picture of what bureaucracy is,
right?
And the challenges. And it's not to say it doesn't have its challenges, because it's such a sort of monolithic system. It's hard to not have some challenges. I mean, they're to be expected.
Private healthcare systems have challenges.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And problems.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's what I think one of our frustrations in the debate. Let me first say I think there's this false belief that now for the first time veterans can be able to get care in the community and exercise choice. The truth is community care has been a part of the VA's healthcare delivery system since the 90s. And veterans, actually it probably even goes back farther than that. It was just a more convoluted system before what was called eligibility reform took place in the late 90s. On top of that, the argument I've always made is veterans have a choice. There's a reason why, there has to be a reason why approximately 2/3 of all veterans who have served are not enrolled in VA. In my view, they've made a choice not to come to VA. Some are probably excluded. Many are eligible and just choose not to.
Right.
In the meantime, you have 8 million veterans that have chosen to enroll, about 6 million that use it. That's a choice in my view.
Yep.
I think that the political debate has sort of tried to redefine what choice means. And some of that has turned into, it's become political fodder for the debate about privatization and everything else.
I mean, VA, people also don't understand they certainly don't understand the quality of care that's available. I, for one, have
I was just going to say,
no complaints.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is how innovative the VA is. And
agreed. I would say to your point about quality care. I use the VA almost exclusively for all of my care. Our members of Paralyzed Veterans of America, they're veterans with spinal cord injury or disease like ALS or MS, and they rely on the VA almost entirely for their care to a person because they can't get comparable care in the community.
Sure.
And I think that's lost a lot of times in the debate. And that's just one segment. There are a lot of pieces to VA where there's not really comparable, but it gets transferred over into the discussion about just getting primary care and things like that. And I think people don't really appreciate the complexity of care, the quality of care that people get, especially veterans who have unique needs that are not addressed in the community. To your point about being innovative, what people don't realize is the VA not only is a healthcare provider, it has a number of other mission requirements. I think people would be surprised to learn that the VA trains approximately 70% of all physicians in the country. There's no way the private sector could take on that kind of workload. It's not even in their interest because it's not something, it doesn't serve their model for why the private sector exists. They also don't understand that VA has a research mission. Yes, there's research that takes place in the community. It tends to be different. A lot of VA research is clinical bedside research. And then one of the things that always is lost, and we have made issue about this on the Hill because there are a lot of people on the Hill that didn't even realize it. In fact, it really became apparent not so much post 9/11, but Hurricane Katrina made people become aware that VA has what's called the fourth mission, where it serves as both a backup to DOD and to serve the national system in times of national emergency or natural disasters. So when the private system struggled during Katrina, and I'll use the subsequent hurricanes that have happened over the last several years, the VA has succeeded where many others have failed. I'll use as an example Puerto Rico. Our leadership went to Puerto Rico about a year ago in December, about 3 months after Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, devastated the island. And the VA was the only thing that was really getting it right and still standing and providing services. The rest of the island was struggling mightily. Some of our leadership went back there about a month ago, and but for the VA, some of these people don't know what they would be doing. And a lot of that gets lost on people who all they see about the VA is what you hear in the news. And the truth is, for every one good story in the news, there's hundreds of, for one bad story, there's 100 good stories, but good stories don't make good news. So.
Exactly. You know, and what one point that frequently in the news, or has been, is, veterans have to wait forever for appointments.
Right.
Listen.
That's not true with you.
No, not for me.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, you try and make an appointment with a specialist, for example, in the civilian world.
Right.
A cardiologist.
Good luck.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the issue is the VA. It's fair to say that there was a time when VA did not struggle with making timely appointments. And I would say that the reason for that is because the demand on the system is so great. And for whatever reason, the answer became to relieve the pressure, let people go elsewhere. And it sort of overlooks the fact that these people are trying to get into VA. Why would you encourage them to leave the VA as the solution?
Right. Well, Carl, you're a smart guy. You're doing a great job. You can tell that the PVA has got the right person in charge.
Great organization.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and look forward to having you on again.
I appreciate that. I look forward to it as well.
Thanks.
We'll be right back with the National Defense right after this word from Farmers Insurance. When you're dealing with life's ups and downs, it helps to know the ins and outs of insurance. Farmers Insurance has been sharing practical insurance knowledge for more than 89 years. At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Find an agent at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Hello, Miranda.
Ford F-150's terrific. Now let's get specific.
Okay. The high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy F-150 has best-in-class towing.
For campers and boats, for homecoming floats.
And best-in-class torque.
F-150's packing what the competition is lacking.
Nicely done.
Enjoyed it a ton.
The Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Best-in-class claims with properly configured vehicles. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR based on Ford segmentation.
New appliances can do wonders for a kitchen. Right now at the Home Depot, they'll also do wonders for a kitchen budget with up to 30% off appliance special buys, like the 4-piece stainless steel Samsung kitchen suite, up to $1,800 off. Fridge, gas range, microwave, dishwasher, all at once, just in time for dinner. Up to 30% off appliance special buys now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only while supplies last. See store for details. Electric range available at extra cost. Valid through February 27th.
Gillette takes great pride in offering the right razor for every kind of face. Now you can get the right razor for your grooming needs when you need it with Gillette On Demand and have quality blades delivered right to your door. Subscribe to Gillette On Demand today and take $5 off your first order with special offer NDR5 at checkout. Enjoy free shipping, hassle-free billing, and you can change or cancel anytime. Visit online at GilletteOnDemand.com and remember, get $5 off your first order with special offer NDR5 at checkout.
Welcome back to the National Defense. It's Randy Miller, and it's time now for another Morgan Stanley Money Brief. And with us again is Michelle Morrow from the Morgan Stanley Veterans Network. Michelle, how are you?
I'm good, Randy. How are you?
Good. Hey, listen, last week we started a discussion on retirement planning, and particularly about what questions to ask yourself about when you're thinking about your retirement and how you'll prepare for it. which is really as simple as, just saving.
That's right. Good old-fashioned saving. So what you do with the saved money can vary tremendously, and the choices you make can impact how much that money grows over time. For example, you could contribute to your employer-sponsored plan, if it's available, like a 401k or a 403b. Your employer might even match your contributions, which is like free money.
Wait a minute, free money. You got my attention. Did you say free money?
I did. Glad you're paying attention. Some employers will match what their employees contribute up to a certain amount, so find out if that's an option. You can also save your retirement money in an individual retirement account, an IRA. These options allow you to invest the money you save for retirement and hopefully allow it to grow over time.
Well, how do our listeners figure out how much they should be saving for retirement?
Excellent question, and one that will be different for everyone. The best answer I can give is to recommend that your listeners speak to a trusted financial professional or to use an online retirement calculator. Most banks and financial services firms offer some kind of retirement calculator that allows you to enter details about your timeline, your current assets, and your future goals to figure out how much you should be saving now.
I mean, Michelle, that sounds like a great idea, but what if our listeners don't like the answer? What if they find out they should be saving a lot more money than they already are?
Right. It could be a bit painful, but by going through this exercise, you may find that you need to go back to the first question and refine your answer, which is you may need to retire later, save more now, or adjust your income needs.
Keep working. Yeah. Well, that's a lot to think about, but better to know sooner rather than later, right?
Exactly. You don't want to be surprised when you're about to retire.
All right. So let me see if I can summarize the financial goals so far for our listeners. So once you've taken care of the basics of a budget, insurance, and an emergency fund, the next financial goal to focus on is to pay off your debt and then move on to planning for retirement, right?
That's right. And next week, as part of our next few segments on financial goals, we'll talk about the last financial goal to prioritize, which is college planning.
Michelle, thank you so much. We'll be back next week with a brand new edition of the Morgan Stanley Money Brief right here on the National Defense.
This radio program does not provide individually tailored advice. It has been prepared without regard to the individual financial circumstances and objectives of persons who receive it. The strategies discussed may not be suitable for all individuals. Morgan Stanley recommends that individuals independently evaluate particular strategies and encourages them to seek the advice of a financial advisor. The appropriateness of a particular strategy will depend on an individual's circumstances and objectives. Tax laws are complex and subject to change. Morgan Stanley, its affiliates, and Morgan Stanley and financial advisors do not provide tax or legal advice and are not fiduciaries under ERISA, the Internal Revenue Code, or otherwise, with respect to the services or activities described herein, except as otherwise provided in writing by Morgan Stanley and or as described at www.morganstanley.com/disclosures/DOL. Individuals are encouraged to consult their tax and legal advisors, A, before establishing a retirement plan or account, and B, regarding any potential tax, ERISA, and related consequences of any investment made under such plan or account. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. With the active duty sweat protection of Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant, you can focus on looking your best. From your dress blues to your ACUs. From 0500 to the next, Gillette's 48-hour sweat and odor protection has got your 6 all day long, keeping you fresh and ready for action. Gillette goes on clear and doesn't leave white marks, so you always pass inspection with flying colors. Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant, tough on sweat and as ready for action as you are.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Chad, go.
I know the F-150 kicks butt and takes names.
Like how the high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy F-150 thrashes the competition with best-in-class towing and torque?
Mm-hmm, totally saw that coming.
Chad, how do you know so much about F-150 beating the competition?
I drive the competition.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The Ford F-150, it doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Best-in-class claims with properly configured vehicles. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR based on Ford segmentation.
This portion of the National Defense is brought to you by Gorilla Glue, the makers of Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape has a tough, reinforced backing and is made with double-thick adhesive that grips to smooth, rough, and uneven surfaces. With a weather-resistant shell, Gorilla Tape can be used both indoors and out, which is perfect for applications in the field, including duck blinds, tree stands, and tent repairs. Gorilla Tape and Gorilla Glue for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Hey, welcome into the National Defense. It's Randy Miller and Jerry Newberry. So, we've had Gary Sinise on the program before.
Yep.
And every time we have him on the show, it's the same kind of thing. I mean, people love Gary Sinise, and it's for all different reasons, but I think the main reason is the heart of this guy. And he's got a new book out, and this is really tells a lot about Gary Sinise. It's called Grateful American, A Journey from Self to Service. Gary Sinise is back on with us. Gary, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Man, I learned so much about you reading your book. I thought I knew a lot already because I followed you for years, but this book just opens up your life to us. And, man, I was very touched by it. The opening chapter, I got to tell you, because I'm a disabled Vietnam veteran, and opening chapter, I actually started to cry reading it.
Well, it got you in the beginning. I'm glad to hear it.
It absolutely did.
Well, and Gary, the thing about the book that kind of explains your introduction to the veteran community, I can relate to a lot with that because I'm not a veteran. And when we started doing this show 13 years ago, all of a sudden I got to interact with all these great men and women, and I had the same kind of thing, and it's one of those things where, and you talk about it in the book, where you think, you should be honoring them, and they're there to honor you. I mean, I know that feeling, and it's kind of a weird deal, isn't it?
Well, I started with the book kind of starts with a moment 25 years ago when I was invited to the Disabled American Veterans National Convention in Chicago that year. It was held in Chicago, and it was about a month after Forrest Gump had opened. They invited me to their national convention, and they wanted to present me with something for playing Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, and they gave me the Commander's Award just for playing what they stated was a catastrophically wounded veteran in a positive way, and certainly the story of Lieutenant Dan is a positive story in the end, where he's going to be okay, he's going to be just fine, and up until Forrest Gump, we hadn't really seen a Vietnam veteran in a film portrayed as somebody that you felt at the end of the movie that they were going to be all right. The previous films about Vietnam and the Vietnam veteran, Apocalypse Now, Platoon, Casualties of War, Deer Hunter, Coming Home. There were just a ton of movies. But at the end, you always felt that the Vietnam veteran was it was very questionable as to whether they were going to be able to move on with their life. And the story of all those Vietnam veterans who were able to put their war years behind them and move on and be okay and be successful, that story really hadn't been told yet. And that's, of course, the story that we want for everyone who returns from war and who serves their country, and we want them to come and return to life and be okay and move on, and I think that really resonated with the Disabled American Veterans folks and with the veterans there. And when I walked out on stage, when they introduced me, and I saw 2,500 wounded veterans standing out there, and in wheelchairs and on crutches, and they were applauding and cheering. I mean, it was just very overwhelming, and I chose to kind of begin the book with that moment in time, and then we kind of travel back, and it becomes it's an autobiography that kind of moves through my self-focused life when I was focused on my acting career and building a theater, to the broader mission right now, which is how that life and that journey kind of took me to a service life that I've spent many, many years on, and has given my life just great meaning and purpose.
Yeah, when you talk about so many different things in terms of your career in the book, and I was struck, I was impressed when I didn't know that. I knew you were a member of Steppenwolf in Chicago, but I didn't know you went directly from that into directing. I mean, that's a huge jump.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some good stories in the book about how I stumbled into acting in high school when I was kind of a kid who was really a bit lost and trying to find a reason to go to school. I was just really having a lot of trouble, and I stumbled into acting because the drama teacher saw me and told me to come and audition for a play, and I ended up doing that, and I got in the play, and I tell these very these meaningful stories to me, and I share them in the book because that was the catalyst that drove me into acting, and kind of led to the founding of a theater company and the building of a theater company. And you see these, you see in the story of Grateful American, you see this kid with all these other kids kind of building a theater that is now 45 years old now. Wow. And it sparked the careers of many, many great people, and it certainly gave me all the fundamentals and foundation for what I would do in acting and directing.
I was going to say, it wasn't just a theater company.
No.
I mean, it was Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
And give us some of those names that you were involved with.
Well, John Malkovich is
amazing actor.
There in the 70s. Jeff Perry is one of the co-founders. Terry Kinney is the other co-founder. Laurie Metcalf.
Wow.
Original company member. Joan Allen came in a year after we started. So Joan started with us in 1977. That's where I met my wife, who went to college with Jeff and John and everybody, Moira, and we started dating in 1976. We got married in 1981. There's some stories in the book about how we got together and some of the challenges that we've faced, and I share a lot in the book because I want people to understand how they see a lot of what I'm doing now in service to our military and our veterans and everything. But there was a journey to get there, and there were steps along the way and things that happened along the way, and a lot of bumps, a lot of mistakes, a lot of craziness, and I think hopefully it's people seem to be moved by it, and also they find a lot of the humor that's in the book because there's a lot of silly pranks. As a kid and stuff like that.
Well, and we're talking to Gary Sinise here in the National Defense, and you talk about all of these friends and all of these different colleagues that you have in acting. The book came out this week, and was it yesterday that you get the video with Tom Hanks and Kristen Chenoweth?
How cool was that, eh?
I mean,
did you see that?
Yeah, that is so cool. Well, and the thing that struck me, we had Tom Hanks on this show. And we've never interviewed Tom Hanks. He would not shut up. I mean, this guy, he's on 45 minutes, and I had to remind him at that point, we only have an hour-long show. He was great. So, I mean, it wasn't surprising to me to see Tom Hanks and Colin Powell also, right?
Who's also been on the show, yeah. When Tom was on, we asked him one question. I went out and made a cup of coffee, ate a sandwich.
Right. Yeah. How did that feel to you, though?
Well, you're talking about this video that kind of hit the internet yesterday, which was a real shock to me. I was totally surprised by it, and my office and my CEO, who's a retired four-star general, General Robin Rand. He's working for my foundation now. Him and the team there surprised me with this thing by reaching out to all these people, people in the entertainment business like Tom and Ron Howard and Jay Leno and different folks, Kristen, and just a wonderful group of folks, and they all sent me messages. And also, you know, all these military folks and first responders and you know, our wounded you know, service members who we've built houses for and everything. Just a ton of people sent in these lovely messages, and they've sat me down. I was kind of they shot me watching this thing, this video, and then they put up the video of me watching the video, and I didn't know they were taping, and I was just stunned by it, watching it, and totally surprised because of the kindness and, you know, support and everything of people just wishing me well on the book and saying wonderful things, and it was just it's all on the internet there. You can see me reacting to the video, and they posted that thing too. So I mean, it's been an overwhelming day. Yesterday was the first day the book launched, and then they surprised me with this video that's now, you know, running around the internet like crazy.
It lets you know that you've done something right. You get that kind of thing.
And in the book, there's I'm assuming it's probably not a complete list of organizations and efforts you've supported and your foundation has supported, and the list is amazing.
Oh, at the end of it, well, I wanted to list. You know, there were so many things going on before I had a foundation. The way I was, you know, I just wanted to do something after September 11th, having been involved with veterans in the 80s, supporting our Vietnam veterans in the 80s, and then playing the wounded veteran and getting involved with the DAV in the 90s and some of those efforts. After September 11th, I just felt I have to support the men and women who are deploying in reaction to that terrible event and make sure that they know they're appreciated. I don't want what happened to our Vietnam veterans when they came home from war to happen to this generation of service members who are responding to this terrible terrorist attack. So I started raising my hand for the USO and just started raising I'd reach out to different military charities and see if I could come and do an event for them and raise some money and try to help them help. I just felt like if I could support a lot of different military charity organizations out there that are operating in a lot of different support spaces, Gold Star families, wounded, entertainment, whatever it was. If I could support a lot of those, then we could reach a lot more people that are serving our country, and we could help a lot more people. So I started supporting all these other efforts, and then it became clear at a certain point, hey, wait a minute, I'm doing all this stuff with all these organizations here. Clearly, I'm in the game for good here. I should use all this experience that I've gained through supporting these other military nonprofits and learning from them and what they're doing in the military support space and kind of capitalize on all that experience. And I help these organizations raise millions of dollars. Now I should try to use all that knowledge and all that goodwill and capitalize on the experience that I've gained there and start my own organization. So I started the Gary Sinise Foundation, and we're about 8 years old now, and doing all kinds of good things all over the place.
It's really, always the Gary Sinise Foundation is always at the top of Charity Navigator. I mean, it's always the one that we point people to, and there's only 3 or 4 of those that we point people to when they say,
there's a reason for
where do we go to help veterans? It's out now. It's called Grateful American, A Journey from Self to Service, Gary Sinise. Man, thank you, Gary, for what you're doing, for your foundation, and
we look forward to seeing you soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Well, I hope you guys can swing by Fort Leavenworth, or
we will.
I hope I get to see you.
Well, great luck on the book. It's going to be fantastic, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Hey, can I give you one more little exclusive?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Right before I called you, my daughter had a baby.
Oh! Oh, yay! Congratulations!
Wow, congratulations!
So I was just on the phone with my wife. My daughter just had her second baby.
Wow!
It came early. The baby actually the due date was next month, and the baby came early. So we birthed a book yesterday, and then my daughter birthed a baby this morning.
So boy, girl, what was the weight? Give us some details.
Little girl.
Congratulations!
Oh, that's great, Grandpa Sinise.
Yep.
Fantastic.
There you go, bud.
Thank you, Gary. We'll see you soon.
God bless. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back with the National Defense right after this word from Farmers Insurance. When you're dealing with life's ups and downs, it helps to know the ins and outs of insurance. Farmers Insurance has been sharing practical insurance knowledge for more than 89 years. At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Find an agent at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
How do you thank the millions of men and women who have fought so bravely for our country over the years? At the Home Depot, we think it takes more than words. We believe the best way to show gratitude is to do gratitude. The Home Depot Foundation is committed to veterans and their families, improving their homes and their lives. Since 2011, we've invested $160 million to veteran causes and impacted over 26,000 veteran homes. By 2020, we'll grow that investment to $250 million. From simple wheelchair ramps to complete home makeovers, transitional housing, community support, we consider it a duty and a privilege to serve senior, wounded, and homeless veterans the best ways we know how. After all they've given us, it's the least we could do. $250 million by 2020. Doing more for veterans. Doing gratitude. The Home Depot. More saving. More doing.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior Project offers comfort and support for warriors with PTSD and all other scars of war, whether those scars are visible or hidden. Find out how to help, because for warriors, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Please visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Hello, Miranda.
Ford F-150's terrific. Now let's get specific.
Okay. The high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy F-150 has best-in-class towing.
For campers and boats, for homecoming floats.
And best-in-class torque.
F-150's packing what the competition is lacking.
Nicely done.
Enjoyed it a ton.
The Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Best-in-class claims with properly configured vehicles. Classes full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR based on Ford segmentation.
With the active duty sweat protection of Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant, you can focus on looking your best. From your dress blues to your ACUs. From 0500 to the next, Gillette's 48-hour sweat and odor protection has got your 6 all day long, keeping you fresh and ready for action. Gillette goes on clear and doesn't leave white marks, so you always pass inspection with flying colors. Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant, tough on sweat and as ready for action as you are.
We're standing guard with the truth. The National Defense.
Welcome back to the National Defense. It's Randy Miller, and it's time now for another Eye Insights with VSP Vision Care. Dr. Robert Meisel is back with us, and did not know this, that we are in Low Vision Awareness Month. Dr. Meisel, what is low vision?
Well, February is Low Vision Awareness Month. And low vision just means that it's not a disease, but it's a visual impairment. And typically not correctable with standard glasses, contact surgery. But it just interferes with the ability to see important activities on a daily basis.
So what are the warning signs of low vision?
Well, certain diseases like diabetes, macular degeneration, glaucoma, even cataracts would give a person trouble doing their daily tasks like reading, sewing. Lights don't seem as bright. It's muted. They can't see faces across the street, even seeing signs. So all these could indicate a problem with low vision. Now, sometimes things can be like cataracts. If that's the problem, they can be certainly corrected. The other problems might be a little bit more significant, certainly.
And, well, if you have these symptoms, then who should you see? Just a regular eye doctor?
Yes, certainly if you have a eye doctor that's been your doctor for a while, they can see changes in your vision. They would also test to see what is creating the problem. So there are various disorders and diseases that can affect this and cause low vision. So again, seeing a doctor and having a complete eye exam would be the recommendation, certainly, and as quickly as possible if it's a sudden change.
Yeah, and I kind of, that kind of goes back to your regular annual checkups, because then you get a baseline with your doctor and they know if there are any changes. Who is at higher risk for low vision?
Well, certainly people that are older, because there are more problems with things like cataracts, even diabetes. A lot of patients will switch doctors because they don't really have someone they see on a regular basis. And this is unfortunate because there's no baseline. Mm-hmm. And it's important to see what you have been seeing versus what you are now seeing. Macular degeneration is a big problem and probably accounts for about half of all low vision cases. And it's growing as our population ages.
You need to get in. That's that's the bottom line. Hey, Dr. Meisel, VSP Vision Care has a lot of exciting things for our particular audience. Can you talk about what you guys are doing?
We are a vision carrier participating in the Federal Dental and Vision Insurance Program, known as FedVIP. For those military families and retirees that enrolled in November, they now have access starting January 1st of this year to comprehensive vision coverage through FedVIP. If you missed the open season and are a newly eligible TRICARE member or are retiring at any point this year, you can review VSP plan options at choosevsp.com. And when you're ready to learn how to enroll, go to benefeds.com to learn about enrollment options.
A brand new Eye Insights with VSP Vision Care next week. Thank you, Dr. Meisel.
Thank you, Randy. Pleasure.
This portion of the National Defense is brought to you by Gorilla Glue, the makers of Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape has a tough, reinforced backing and is made with double-thick adhesive that grips to smooth, rough, and uneven surfaces. With a weather-resistant shell, Gorilla Tape can be used both indoors and out, which is perfect for applications in the field, including duck blinds, tree stands, and tent repairs. Gorilla Tape and Gorilla Glue for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
So now that you've chosen the vanity, paint, and bathroom tile, you still can't decide on the faucet. Let the Home Depot make that easier by saving $10 on the sleek, modern Moen Genta faucet. Right now, it's only $89. How's that for easy choices? The Moen Genta faucet. Now, just $89 during the Winter Kitchen and Bath event at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through March 24th while supplies last.
Gillette takes great pride in offering the right razor for every kind of face. Now you can get the right razor for your grooming needs when you need it with Gillette On Demand and have quality blades delivered right to your door. Subscribe to Gillette On Demand today and take $5 off your first order with special offer NDR5 at checkout. Enjoy free shipping, hassle-free billing, and you can change or cancel anytime. Visit online at GilletteOnDemand.com and remember, get $5 off your first order with special offer NDR5 at checkout.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Chad, go.
I know the F-150 kicks butt and takes names.
Like how the high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy F-150 thrashes the competition with best-in-class towing and torque?
Mm-hmm, totally saw that coming.
Chad, how do you know so much about F-150 beating the competition?
I drive the competition.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Best-in-class claims with properly configured vehicles. Classes full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR based on Ford segmentation.
We're standing guard with the truth. The National Defense.